the other times when it clogged up, I always kept the corn picker cut off. This time, I thought by turning the machine on that the rollers would take the corn stalk through, and it didn't. When I grabbed a hold of the corn stalk and pulled down and couldn't get the corn stalk to come out, then I pushed up. And when I did, in a split second, it pulled my hand up into the rollers. I was so mad. I could not believe what had happened.
Sampson felt the rollers rip into his glove, and then his right hand.
It was very painful. I was panicked. I was like, if I don't get free pretty soon, I'm gonna bleed to death right here.
He started grasping at anything within reach.
I was busy with my left hand digging into the dirt to get dirt and rocks. I knew I had to jam the machine to get my hand free from the rollers. At that point, I turned to God and I screamed out, cried out to God several times for help. I was so scared that I was going to die there, and my family, my wife Leanne and Sampson Jr. coming down and finding me on the farm, because very many people knew I was down at the farm that day. I was going to do whatever it took to get free from that machine.
Sampson then spotted the metal pin connecting the trailer hitch to the picker. He kept trying to jam the gears with the pin, but every attempt failed. Finally, it worked, and the gears and rollers came to a stop. But his hand was still stuck, and the gears kept grinding. They threw sparks into the corn stalks below, and soon he had another problem.
Just screaming for help and crying out to God. The biggest thing I was thinking about is I wasn't going to burn to death there.
Sampson realized he had only one option. He reached around for his pocket knife.
Fire will make you do things that you never thought you would ever do. When I screamed out to God to help me, it was like God took my left hand and I brought it out and just jammed it to my forearm. And that was painful. My hand being ripped apart by the rollers, that was painful. My leg being on fire and my arm being on fire and burning and the skin melting like plastic, as you can imagine, that was painful. But when I hit those nerves in my forearm, that was pain. I passed out for a little bit because I remember looking down at my mom and my wife arguing to me where I was going to be buried. And somehow I came to, and I continued to cut my arm off.
Sampson had been trapped for 2 hours when he freed himself.
I'd never forget jumping up and screaming, I'm free, I'm free. I mean, as bad as it sounds, but I was so excited. So I jumped in the truck. I knew I had to get help. When I arrived up to the road and I started trying to wave people down to get people to stop, nobody would stop. So what I did is I pulled my truck crossways in the roadway. I said a prayer to God that I've done everything I can do. I'm in your hands now. And people still drove around in front of my truck. As I was dying, I was thinking, man, I hope somebody will stop.
Finally, someone did. He was an off-duty EMT.
My truck door opened up and this guy sticks his head in and he says, hey man, are you okay? And I raised up what was left of my right arm and I said, I think I need a little help.
As he worked to stabilize Sampson and stop the bleeding, a woman arrived on the scene who happened to be a nurse.
So God had sent the right people at the right time, right there in the middle of nowhere. And he answered my prayer.
The pair arranged for a life flight to take him to the hospital. Not long after, Sampson's wife Leanne got a phone call from her mother. She had no details, only that Sampson had been in a bad accident.
No one's ever prepared for a